Media. Today is October the 22nd. Let's get into what's going on. We have a national emergency. President Trump has cut Central American aid as Mexico has lost control of this migrant army, the caravan that we have been hearing about recently. Since President Trump has threatened to close the southern border due to Honduras' unwillingness to comply with his requests for assistance in stopping a migrant caravan marching toward the U.S., the migrants have successfully crossed into Mexico and on Sunday regrouped after being temporarily delayed at the Mexican border by border guards who failed to force the migrants to turn back. This is a lot of people. It's a mile long, wide line of people that are coming, marching their way to the United States, and they're growing. And President Trump is deploying guards, the National Guards, to the border and more troops. He says it's a national emergency while reiterating the blame for the Democrats for refusing to change our pathetic immigration laws. He has tweeted about it, saying that sadly it is the Democrats' fault. These laws must change. He says every time you see a caravan, think of the Democrats. Remember the midterms, so unfair to those who come in illegally, he says. Okay, and they have not stopped. Sadly, he says the Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador police were not able to do the job of stopping the people from leaving their country and coming in illegally to the U.S. We will now begin cutting off or substantially reducing the massive foreign aid routinely given to them. So they are going to get much more poorer, and where are they going to want to come? To the United States, obviously. So as these countries get more poorer and poorer, it forces them to want to come to a country that's better, right? We just got to think about that. I'm not saying it's right that we have like 1 million people just come here at one time, you know. There has to be some type of limitation. In order for us to actually be a country, you have to have borders. And I do think that is very important as well. Okay, so what else is going on? There's an extremely dangerous hurricane that's a Category 5 off of Mexico's Pacific coast, same time as we see this mound, the caravan coming in. Okay, same time as the caravan coming in, we have an extremely dangerous hurricane coming off Mexico. Coincidence? I'm not sure. But there is a lot of hurricanes going on these days. This is changing weather patterns happening on our Earth. Hurricane Willa has rapidly intensified into an extremely dangerous Category 5 storm in the eastern Pacific, with computer models early Monday forecasting landfall on Mexico's western coast between Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta in the next several days. According to the Washington Post, state governments began preparing emergency shelters ahead of the life-threatening storm. The U.S. National Hurricane Center warned early Monday morning that Willa could produce life-threatening storm surge, wind, and rainfall over portions of southwestern and west central Mexico beginning on Tuesday. This is going to have 155 mile per hour gusts up to 190 mile per hour winds, and we will keep you updated on the damage this is going to do to central Mexico. And what do you think is going to happen when this devastation happens to Mexico and they're not able to recover from it because they're not even getting aid at all from us? They will not be able to recover from this, and we will have more people coming into the country illegally. Okay, so this is going to create more problems, I see, in the near future. And this article is coming from SOT.net. Speaking of NASA's increased budget because they are scared of an asteroid hitting our planet. Now, first they told us that the threat is real, but in recent years, NASA assured the public that there's no imminent threat. Now, has that changed all of a sudden? I do believe it has, because the Trump administration has proposed to increase the budget for NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office from $60 million to $150 million amid growing concerns that humanity is underprepared for the unlikely but still unthinkable event of an asteroid hitting the planet. Okay, so first of all, why spend $90 million that we don't have if there's nothing to be concerned about? Second, why issue a brand new plan that is intended to energize a host of agencies who could contribute to potential ways to prevent such a disaster if there is no disaster looming for the foreseeable future? Something doesn't smell right. According to NASA, there are more than 25,000 asteroids lurking out there that are 140 meters in size or greater, and overall there are approximately a million near-Earth objects that could pose a potential threat. So it definitely makes sense to be prepared for such a disaster, as NASA established the Planetary Defense Coordination Office back in early 2016. If and when the interplanetary asteroid apocalypse comes, NASA plans to be prepared. So basically, what are they doing? They're setting up a preparedness plan, they say, to shoot down asteroids in case it were to come, and they're spending $150 million on this, okay? FEMA is going to be working with NASA, and they will handle the preparations and response planning related to the consequences of atmospheric entry or impact to U.S. communities. Right there. Okay, also, the Planetary Defense Coordination is being headed by the former Air Force officer Lindsey Johnson, and he recently told Politico about what a major asteroid impact would mean for our nation, and it's quite chilling. If you'd like to see, you can click on this right here. I'll leave the article below for you. It says, as they have studied the problem more, we looked at the effects of an impact of an even 100+ meter size object. If it were to impact near a metropolitan area, it would be a disaster on a scale more than anything we've tried to deal with in our history. So the threshold that we wanted to look for these things was lowered, actually to 140 meters in size based upon a study that NASA sponsored. So basically, yeah, they lowered their threshold, and they might be doing this to start their space wars and to develop their space embassy for war, basically an army in space. And we know that they've been talking about this, so it would not surprise me. They can spend any money that they want on national security and not have to tell us exactly what that money was spent for. And so now we know why there's 21 trillion that's missing, and because it was spent on national security, and they don't have to tell us what it was for. That's not the 21 trillion we're in debt right now. That's an extra 21 trillion on top of that. Okay, so that is just missing. Nobody knows what happened to it. Alright, hope you like content. Please like and subscribe. I will leave all the links below so you can check all these articles out for yourself. You have a great day. Thanks for joining. RC Truth Media is over and out.